Okay, stock market technical analysis. I'll go through kind of what I'm looking at in the charts this morning. And it won't be too long of a video, but I definitely want to kind of cover what I'm looking at. So hourly chart, my trend line might be slightly off on the hourly for triple Qs. It's not the cleanest trend line. The best I can do is kind of right about in there on the hourly. And again, I am expecting a breakout and a relief rally in the markets. We're starting to see that, obviously, today. Here's the hourly. We're starting to break out there on the triple Qs. And then, obviously, the futures, which I pointed out earlier in the private member group, clearly breaking out there. The futures have a much cleaner channel. Sometimes if the triple Qs is a choppy chart because it's subject to gaps, and the futures doesn't get that. So the futures can often be a cleaner way to kind of look at what the charts look like. But clearly this downward channel and we're breaking out. Might come in for a back test. Keep that in mind. Usually when you see breakouts, they'll back test. So that could happen today. They might actually come down, sell it down, and kind of keep us all guessing into next week. But again, it's a breakout. So whether we backtest is, I don't know. Usually when you have this, we've been pretty oversold. And I definitely know that most people are bearish at this point because I see it in my comments. Again, if you remember, if I go back to the triple Qs, we on this channel, and especially in the private member group, when we broke out here, just barely broke out those former highs, and then failed. That's when I got bearish. All right, and that's when I basically said, okay, guys, time to short the market. So that's when I wanted to short. You go back and look at the comments. That nobody believed it. There's a few people kind of follow me strategically, but most people are going to be on the other side of the trade when I'm on it. It's just the nature of shorting. Okay, usually when you have very good short signals, they come at all-time highs or near all-time highs, and people can't see it. But sure enough, boom, sell down. Now down here where I'm looking for this rally, this relief rally, I'm seeing a lot of comments saying, oh, don't trust the rally. Markets aren't going up because of Canada or whatever. Lots of different, there's lots of different headline reasons. But again, I don't really even look at the headlines. I just follow the charts. I pretty much could write the headline. I know that it's mostly like the tariffs and whatever. That's why the market fell down. But again, if you look at back when I got short right here, when we got pretty definitive sell signal, there was no tariff headlines. All right. So the market sold down. They slapped the tariff headlines on top of it as the catalyst. Or maybe the tariffs were coming and people knew about it and they were front running it. That could happen too. But in general, you can't follow the headlines. So now that people think that everything's bearish, I see the good odds for a relief rally. Okay, so that's triple Qs. Where do we go to? I've got this target. I really like the 500. We've got resistance overhead right there. It's just a very clean target. If I go back to the daily, the one thing that would do, the 500, that I really like about the target, one, you've got the 200-day moving averages just below at like 490. So I think you're going to rally into those, and people will think, oh, okay, time to get rejected. I think it's going to actually get a pop over that. That's how you shake out the shorts, the kind of the late to the party shorts. You recover the 200, pop over it. Everybody feels warm and fuzzy and bullish again because the 200s have been recovered, and then you dump out. All right. So that's my plan as of right now. And that's, of course, if this relief rally continues. So far, so good. But up around 500, that's where we dump out. And objective short there. Could go higher. I just don't see it. Maybe up to 510-ish, 509.85. I'd probably put max bounce right there. So how I'm going to treat it personally is I'm going to be long on the breakout unless this fails. Of course, that's possible. But we'll be long up to about 500. start to close those longs out and look to start reshorting. All right, I'll look to start rebuilding a short position. I will, short here. I'll add up to 510. I will not add above. Above, I will look to start to close out or cover my shorts, because you start to break back above into this trading range here, you're probably going to go to the all-time highs and then make a push into new highs. I don't think that's going to happen, but it obviously could happen. The charts tell me that's not going to happen. Lots of damage has been done to the chart, so at most I see a relief rally that but these relief rallies have to be very believable. That's what keeps kind of downside momentum working, is you can't make shorting easy. Everybody wants to short now, all right? After it's dropped huge, that's when everybody wants to short. You got to shake all those people out, make the buy the dip crowd come back, and then and that's when you start to dump on them again. So that's what I've got on the triple Qs. And then when you look at this one, I've been, I keep an eye on kind of the heavy hitters. JP Morgan, I had an alert set on this one, and you look at the hourly chart and you can see there's my little alert, and that triggered when we broke above this downtrend line. So we had bullish divergence on the hourly. We had a downtrend line to trigger a breakout or a buy signal. We got it on the gap up this morning, and I was watching that because some of these other stocks, like the indices, were kind of chopping around, but this thing, it held its gains. It held the breakout. And as it was kind of holding it, and I saw some of these other like IWM and stuff kind of selling off, but this holding, I figured, okay, the king of financials is holding. That's signaling a relief rally. And so far, so good. That is good. I'm long this one personally. Where does this one go? I probably a back test. You got this trend line right here, and see the trend line, the upper trend line. A back test would make sense on that one. So a tag of that somewhere. I don't know where it'll come. And there's also a gap to fill. So I think you fill the gap, maybe pop up, do the back test. I'd be looking to re-short in that area. All right. So that is objective as a long. That should continue. XLF, your financial sector. Again, everything's rallying today. We're seeing kind of a broad rally. So there's really no shorts today. I mean, we're just starting this relief rally. And so that's really it. But XLF, I'm just kind of lining up the next trade because the long trade, the breakout trade, has already started. We're in that one. I pointed that out in the private member group early on. I had a post out in pre-market today. And then obviously yesterday we were looking for kind of those key entries into the longs. And then here is, so here's the next trade. XLF, you've got this support trend line. So a back test to that trend line would give you an objective short. There's also kind of resistance right there at about here, 49. So, probably get there next week. I can't see us getting there today. But again, these relief rallies, we've had a really strong sell-off. Usually when you get a relief rally in a strong downtrend, they're impulsive. They're like straight up. So that is kind of what I'm looking for. I think we're just kind of straight up with minor pullbacks. Small caps, IWM. Again, this one looked really good because of the JP Morgan trade. Once that alert fired off this morning, I figured that these will run because they're loaded. IWM's loaded with like regional banks and just financials in general. So it's because of JP Morgan triggered, that kind of cued me into the IWM, and then this thing can run very similar to the triple Qs. This one, if I look at the hourly chart, again, very similar as all the others like triple Qs, downtrend line, very clean downtrend actually. Bullish divergence has been building, and there's your breakout. This morning it was they tried to fake you out a little bit and they dipped it back below, but in general, when I was watching that, I was again looking at that JP Morgan and noticing that it was still holding its breakout. So I figured, okay, JP Morgan's still holding breakout. This thing should run. And now you've got the definitive breakout. So this is likely going higher. I've got this 203 marked out. It's okay resistance, but I think there's probably, what's this one over here? 213. I like that as a target. And probably somewhere right in, oh, there's a breakdown candle somewhere, yeah, right about in here. What is that, 207.95? Yeah, about 207.95, something like that is looks like some resistance. So we'll get pullbacks, but they're going to be bought likely as we continue higher. So again, target right now, I like this 213. There's also this potential downtrend line. So overhead targets 221. That's probably about it. I'd say first target is most probable, max bounce target up there, and then we head lower. That's my current outlook. So gold's been running, but again, if we're seeing risk on, which is what we are definitely seeing today, then I would say good probability that gold is going to sell off, because this is kind of risk off. Also, if you look, this is the futures, gold futures hourly chart. You've got negative divergence. Okay, so that's a divergent high starting to sell off. I think that'll continue to sell off. Let me look at the daily chart. Yeah, and I mean, this is a divergent high also on the daily, so it's not confirmed yet. You need to see the RSI and the PPO start to turn down to help confirm it, but it is divergence there on the daily. And then GDX, some of these I haven't looked at. See, I think that's like almost a back test. This looks relatively objective to short. It could go a little higher, but if you see here, you've got this trend line right here. We broke, and then it's been back testing. Not a full complete back test yet, so maybe it wants to go a little higher, maybe not. Sometimes when everybody's looking at a key level, it won't actually hit it. So that's that, but looks like it wants to do that back test. It is a divergent high. All right, you have negative divergence, not confirmed yet, so maybe needs to kind of roll over. What I'd look for, just wait for a rejection candle, wait for a big like a bearish engulfing, or if it's going to do the back test and then maybe sell off at that point, put in a bearish engulfing, then that's going to be your sell signal, I think, and then it should head lower, probably back down to the 200 days, to be honest. Which right now is about, I don't know, 37.90. We'll call it somewhere about right around there. All right, that's what I got on gold and the gold miners. This one, PLTR, I really like this as a short, but not yet. I like it as a short on a back test. So there's a trend line to watch here on the daily. I think we're going to back test that. There's also good resistance right up there at 99. So somewhere right around there. If it's going to rally up there, very objective to short right there. That's what I will be doing if I can get it. Until then, since it's risk on, this thing's up 8% today. So again, in the last couple days, I basically have been calling for a relief rally. I've been looking for it. We've seen bullish divergences on the hourly charts across the board in like lots of the Mag 7 stocks. JP Morgan had it. It was pretty much there, and I kind of suspected it. So sure enough, relief rallies in play, and we will, should continue. You'll see some of the YouTubers starting to call for the bottom, and again, I do think we are. I wouldn't say we're at a bottom, but I definitely say we're in rally mode. So that's that one. I'm not long this one. It's pretty volatile. I'd rather, since it's kind of a high risk, high reward stock, I like the short better, just because I feel like the major trend line's been broken. So down should be the prevailing trend. So I prefer to try to jump on the major trend versus game a counter trend bounce on that one. So ag input stocks, they're rallying as the rest of the market. MOS, this one, yeah, kind of sitting at, there's some resistance right here at about 25.75. You can see one reaction, two, we're getting another one. So could pull back there. I think it's going higher, but at resistance now. When I look at the daily, This one I like as a longer term long trade, more like an investment, I guess, or a trend trade, only because you've got big bullish falling wedge and with big bullish divergence, and that still remains intact. So it tells me that, you know, this one is going to have a strong rally, but we got to break out on the daily. You know, we've got this downtrend line here and the 200s. We got to kind of clear that overhead resistance. We checked it recently and it failed. Pretty much traded to the bottom of the range, and now we're kind of rallying in the middle. So longer term, you need to see that big breakout in order to trigger that next trend trade. Until then, we're still within the wedge. Okay, I think we're going to get it soon because of the bullish divergences that have been building. This wedge is getting pretty tired. We've been in the wedge for a while. But this is definitely something I'm more interested in being long. I want to be long something that has a bullish technical setup with the divergence and the bullish falling wedge that has sold off from the highs down to the lows 70%. That's a much more interesting long trade to me than like FOMOing into Nvidia or something like that. So that's what I see, and we'll keep you updated on that one. Okay, that's really all I have. So if you guys are interested in the private member group, feel free to join up. $5 a month. Link in the description below. And that one, I mean, I've been putting trades out like crazy in there. Yesterday, I mean, if you went long, I had the 5-minute chart up on some of these things, and we pretty much nailed that perfectly. And so there's value in there. Don't expect me to get everything right, so manage your risk. But in general, putting out more active, responsive trade ideas in the private member group. And I will catch you guys on Monday.